Hi, Jim Stime here with LA Frag Guys. Since I'm waiting for our coral frag vendor coordinator to coordinate us some coral frag vendors, thought I'd give you an update on my own coral frag tank. It's actually done quite well. So well that I'm probably going to move on to another tank here very shortly. Let me give you a general overview of my coral frag tank. So it's a glass Euro style tank that has black silicone edges. The top of the tank is open, but it has what's called perimeter bracing, which is unlike a traditional glass tank, has about a 6-inch border around the top, which not only adds structural support, but its biggest advantage is it stops salt from creeping over the edge like a normal glass tank would allow. It's an attractive, very simple oak stand with a matching canopy, and the rock work inside the tank is live rock that was drilled and pinned together, creating a very airy, archy, open structure inside the tank for placing the corals and various frags and allowing the fish to swim in and out and having many hiding places. Tank's been running for about 2 years now, and there's one mistake that we did make, but before I go into that, actually there's 2 issues with the tank. One was a mistake and one was a learning lesson, and I'll come back to both of those in the moment. For the moment, it is operated by a Neptune Systems Apex controller that not only operates a number of items on this tank, it also operates and monitors a number of other items on other aquariums that we'll talk about down the road. The lighting inside the tank is LED lighting, and it's a simple sump that's down below. Again, we'll come back to the components in the next segment. But what I did want to talk to you about was the corals in the tank have done really quite well. So well that they're starting to grow out of the top of the tank, which is beginning to push me into another phase of coral reef keeping, and that is frag tank or growing of frags, coral frags. But before I go there, the one mistake that we did make on this tank was we didn't put a heater in the system. And whether we just simply overlooked it or forgot it, it was a mistake, because last winter the tank did bottom out temperature-wise at about 73 degrees, and I ended up having a number of fish break out and ick, which was really sad because I lost most of the fish, and in particular a prized pair of percula clownfish that I probably had for 12 or 13 years. Eventually the population of fish declined. We allowed the tank to kind of run for a while before we began to add anything back, and at this point the only thing I've really added back is another pair of clownfish, which ironically came from a former customer's tank, and so those fish I've known for about 7 or 8 years as well. As you can see, there's a number of corals in the system that are all doing really quite well. Many of the corals started out as little fragments, whether I bought them at the fish wholesalers or they came out of Scott's reef tank. There was a frag fest that we went to for the local aquarium club, and we did end up getting a few pieces from them as well. Most of them I've had fairly good success with, some of which I've not had any success with. I will admit that my biggest frustration in this tank, which is probably what's prompted me to go to a new tank that again we'll talk about later on, is my inability to adequately use the epoxy or various glues to keep the corals in place, combined with possibly the emerald crabs, but more likely Astrea snails. I am constantly having to pick up corals that have been knocked off, and I've actually lost a number of corals as a result of the snails knocking them over. I don't know if you can see, there's a coral fragment back there that I can't even retrieve anymore. That got knocked down. Over around on the side here, there's a couple of corals that have gotten knocked down that I can't retrieve. And so due to that frustration of losing various corals as a result of them constantly getting knocked over, of which there's also a green bird's nest coral there in the back that has been knocked over a number of times, and it ends up way down buried back here where that shrimp is, which I am able to retrieve. But you know, when a coral sits there for a day upside down, kind of out of the light, it doesn't really make it a very happy coral. So as a result, I'm probably just going to allow what corals are in here to continue to grow and then advance forward on my new coral frag tank. By the way, those sea gorgonians, or what are also called sea whips, I've probably had for a good 5, maybe 6 years now. There are actually 2 of them in the tank, and the polyps open up quite often on them, and none of the fish seem to pick on them, which is probably a big benefit, because I've tried them in other tanks and end up they don't do well, but that's because the fish pick on them, or at least pick the slime that's sloughed off from them. But at the same time, gorgonians need to be fed, just like the corals do, and while they're photosynthetic, they also need to get plankton out of the water, and this tank gets fed freshly hatched baby brine shrimp on a regular basis. On occasion it gets some of that phyto paste put into it.
In 60 seconds with Steve.
Hello, coral enthusiasts. Since our last episode in early 2017, I've been involved with some very successful coral shows. The first Silicon Valley Coral Farmers Market had over 500 attendees. It was so successful that we have scheduled another show August 5th of this year. Then I co-hosted Reef Currents in Houston with the Marsh Club, and we had Jason Fox speak for the first time to a large audience, and it was the biggest attendance we've ever had at a Reef Currents. Following that, I was invited to be a guest at Rap Orlando, and I was very impressed with that Reef show. I believe it is the best run, the best coral show in the country right now.
Now we continue the Acropora tenuis series with a coral from Elegant Corals, the ultimate pink passion. This limited availability coral has exotic pigments and an unusual tenuous growth form. Polyp tentacles are colored bright pink at the tips. Coral lights are also edged bright pink. As can be seen in this image, the growth form can develop slightly elongated corallites, and that may lead to some controversy about the species ID.
We hope to cover many other tenuous color morphs in future episodes. Please visit my websites, coralfarmersmarket.com and reeffarmers.com.
That was 60 seconds with Steve.
GHL is widely recognized for the most reliable and future-proof aquarium controllers, dosers, and aquarium LED lighting on the market. Designed and manufactured in Germany, all GHL products are built with the highest quality and standards. The GHL Profilux 4 raises the bar to a whole new level. Featuring built-in Wi-Fi, the Profilux 4 can be connected to your network wirelessly and be monitored and controlled from anywhere. With integrated ports for temperature, pH, ORP, conductivity, you can monitor virtually anything. Built-in expansion ports and optional flow sensors allow the Profilux 4 to scale to meet the needs of even the most advanced aquarium installations without the need for additional add-on modules. The new GHL Doser 2.1 takes dosing to the extreme with integrated Wi-Fi for wireless management. It includes inputs for level sensors, a temperature probe, and an output for a magnetic stirrer, making it an ideal solution for everything from dosing, automatic top-off, automated water changes, and even automated feeding. The GHL Mitras are the most powerful and flexible LEDs in their class. The 7206's built-in wireless control makes for fast and easy setup, while the GHL Light Composer allows users to easily set up their spectrum and lighting schedule. 6 individual LED clusters provide the industry's best blending of LED channels while also providing the best spread. 9 channels of control allow you to tailor your lighting scheme to meet the needs of even the most difficult to keep corals while also bringing out colors in corals and fish that would otherwise remain unseen. All GHL products can be controlled via the GHL Control Center application as well as the My GHL Cloud interface, allowing for monitoring, control, and management from anywhere via an internet connection. The unique interface eliminates the need for coding while providing advanced programming functionality unrivaled by the competition. If you're looking for the best controllers, dosers, and lighting on the market, then GHL has a product to fit your needs. For more information, visit aquariumcomputer.com.
So the lighting on the tank consists of 4 XHO 48-inch long Reef Bright LED light strips, 2 blues, 2 whites. It's also augmented with a 24-inch dual white and blue LED light strip, also of the XHO, which is the high output version, and that 24-inch sits directly above most of the corals that are here in the center of the tank, which is probably why they're growing so well. The lighting I'm very pleased with, has a minimal effect as far as temperature in the tank. I doubt if it causes me much in the way of electricity, certainly nothing compared to what the previous high output fluorescents or metal halide lights would be. Now for additional water movement inside the tank, I have 2 of these, I believe they're pronounced J-Boa internal pumps. They've actually worked out real well for me and they're very affordable. I kind of think that I should probably consider incorporating, if not 1 more, possibly 2 more, a little bit further down inside the tank to get some water movement down here. This could be one of the reasons why I've got just a little bit of red slime, because there's not enough water movement down at the bottom. But for the moment, the sand stays where it's supposed to be, and if I put too much current down there, it's going to end up probably starting to push that around a little bit. But I've got the 3rd pump here. We may try it and see what happens. I'll keep you posted. I do have some frag racks from Zen Reef here in the back of the tank. They're held on magnetically. They have an egg crate style platform that has a inner grip on there, which helps hold the corals in place. So the filter system is a pretty basic system. It's a open sump with a mesh sock at one end. There's a Euro Reef brand protein skimmer inside there. You can see there's a fan over the top of the tank, and that's what takes care of cooling the tank these days. There is a Royal exclusive water pump down inside the sump that sends the water through the system. There are 2 hog algae scrubbers for controlling nutrients, specifically nitrate and phosphate. Over on this side here is where the electronics are. There's a driver for the LED lights, and back up inside here is all of the Apex Neptune Systems equipment with all its connections and such. This actually does a whole lot within the tank, and can be monitored here, and at the same time it's monitored as well as controlled on my laptop. And what I'm able to monitor is the temperature, the ORP, the pH, as well as the salinity. And then you can see here by the graphs, it also shows me what it's done over the course of the last 24 hours. Now, in addition to this tank, it's also monitoring the new coral tank out in the garage, as well as the frag tank out in the garage, and the fish holding system out in the garage. So this Apex monitor controller is actually doing quite a bit, and we're going to be hooking up more to it here very shortly. So this is how I monitor it, and then on top of it I also have the ability to monitor and control it through my cell phone. This will log here into the site and show me what's going on there as well. Let me go and show you now the equipment that's out in the garage.
Aquarium LED Mounts manufactures revolutionary articulating mounts for the most popular LED fixtures and pendants. Their unique patent-pending design allows for full articulation of the light. You can rotate the fixture 360 degrees while also tilting it in any direction in order to maximize coverage while reducing shadowing and light bleed onto the viewing panels. They are designed to be used in conjunction with canopies, light racks, and light bars, but can also be adapted for use with light mount arms. The kit includes all the hardware needed to attach to your favorite LED fixtures. Aquarium LED Mounts offers articulating mounts for many popular fixtures, such as the GHL Mitra's LX series, Kessel 350, Kessel 360, and AP700 fixtures, as well as Ecotex Radion, AI Hydra 52, and AI Soul fixtures. Custom mounting adapters for other fixtures can be produced upon request. For more information, check out aquariumledmounts.com.
Hi there, my name's Jim Stime and you know me as the LA Fish Guy. Well, I also wear a couple of other hats. One of them is the jellyfish tank called the Jelly Aquarium, and the third is myfishtank.com. I offer an entire line of acrylic aquariums ranging from rectangular to hexagon, flatback hex, as well as the custom curve front aquariums. There's also an entire line of stands and canopies ranging from MDF to pine to oak with a variety of different finishes available. And the website is even smart enough that you can calculate what the freight and crate charges to your location will be. That's myfishtank.com. In regards to water quality, it's a relatively hands-off, automated approach. At the same time, I'm being guided by someone who, even though his information and intent is valid, I still question the information. Let me explain that one in just a moment, but first, here's the system for water quality.
So it starts off as a multifaceted water purification system, this one being by SpectraPure. I believe it's their MaxCap 90. It's a multi-step filter process, starting off first with a large carbon canister to remove chlorine out of the water. It then comes up into the actual unit, which has a mechanical filter there on the left side, an additional carbon canister. It then passes through two reverse osmosis membranes, of which it then passes through the two final chambers, which are deionization. I'm getting approximately 400 gallons of water, purified water, before I exhaust at least the first cartridge there in the DI system. That water in turn flows out to one of these two 300-gallon containers, the right-hand one being the DIRO purified water, of which is then pumped over into the left-hand container, where I can then mix it with a brand of salt mix to make salt water. For my aquarium maintenance business, I have a number of different customers requiring different salinities, and I'm finding it a little difficult and frustrating to try to accommodate all of those with just this one mixing container. So essentially what I end up doing is making water that's 1.020 to 1.022, and then if I have a high salinity customer, I will probably add a little bit of salt into the system just to try to raise their salinity. And in some cases where I'm trying to deal with parasites or hyposalinity or low salinity applications, I may mix in a little bit more of the pure water, fresh water, to bring that salinity down. That water in turn is then pumped over to this 100-gallon container right here, and this serves as the reservoir for doing the water changes on the tank inside the house, and that's accommodated or accomplished by the Genesis Renew system, which basically with those two containers up there, it'll draw dirty water out of the reservoir down below the tank, and then it'll draw clean water from this 100-gallon container and make an even exchange And at the moment, this is set up to do 5 1-gallon water changes every day. And so my water quality is controlled basically through frequent water changes, in this case 5 gallons of water every day. Now in regards to supplements, I really don't do any supplements for the tanks. I am a big proponent of B-ionics, but the person who's guiding me or influencing me or giving me his words of wisdom is suggesting that if I run a slightly higher salinity, I will achieve a higher alkalinity and a higher calcium. And that's based on what the salt manufacturer says right here on the side. And if you read this, there's a part right here where it says 33.5 parts per thousand salt mix, which might be equal to around 1.025, should achieve a pH of 8.2 to 8.4 and an alkalinity of 7.3 to 7.7, also with a calcium level of 390 to 400. Well, I like Red Sea salt. It dissolves quickly and I go through a bunch of it. I think I buy 8 200-gallon mix bags every 2 to 4 weeks to accommodate the volume of water I take out there, but I am not achieving that water chemistry. I just ran a series of tests and my alkalinity is about 4.7 and my calcium was about 410. So as much as I value the opinion of my friend who was offering me his advice on water chemistry being taken care of by high salinity, I'm just going to ignore that for the future. I'm going to begin to supplement it with B-ionics, which is an alkalinity and calcium supplement, of which I did buy a doser a while back, and it was actually put on that big tank to help supplement calcium and alkalinity, but he poo-pooed that and it's been moved to another system, and at the moment it's planned to be used as a water exchange system for my new coral Frag tank that I'll be setting up here shortly. But I think even that tank is going to require an abundance of increased alkalinity and calcium supplementation. So probably will rethink how I deal with water chemistry. I will say though, very pleasantly or pleasingly, that there is 0.25 parts per million of phosphate in the tank, and there is to a certain degree 0 nitrate. And those two I can attribute to a combination of the frequent water changes as well as the hog algae scrubber that's on them.
So stay tuned for future episodes of LA Frag Guys, and keep an eye out for an upcoming LA Fish Guys episode, which will involve me setting up my new coral frag system out here in the garage. It'll be a multi-part version with lots of great information. In regards to Frag Guys, it has always been my intent to go out to other frag people and get an idea from them what they're doing, how to be more successful, and it's still my intent to do so. I just need to get my coral frag coordinator doing some coordinating. But until then, I will probably do some updates on this tank here. I may even do an update on the new coral frag tank. But as always, keep moving forward.